Best of r/entitled parents episode 115. Subscribe for edit videos daily. Warning. On mobile, English is my first language but I have bad spelling. Also at the time was still a boy so my pronouns in this story are he/him. Background. At the time this happened I was about 9 or 10, so some events might be a bit blurred, and where the event happened was at our after school daycare program so there were a lot of kids around. Normal cast. Me, M, your typical bitch SE, arms child/sweet kid SM1, staff member 1 SM2, staff member 2 PD, program director. So it was around the time everyone went outside and played. Now the event happened around the time everyone was starting to got home. At the time me and SC were on the swings. Now M has just arrived and SC got called by SM1. While SC was getting off the swings she decided that it would be a great idea to walk behind the swing where she could get hit by me who was swinging. And boy oh boy would you guess it. She got hit. Right after like maybe 20 seconds after she got hit M peeked her head out to see SC on the ground crying. Me trying to stop the swing and help her out. Oh boy was she going to release hell onto me. The following conversation went as follows. M. What the FCK did you do to my baby? I kid you not. She dropped the F-bomb on a large group of kids 11 and under. Me. M. She got hit when I get cut off. M. I don't want to hear any of your BS. At this point both SM1 and SM2 have heard all the commotion and come over. M. This child points at me hit my daughter on the swings. SM1. Username and use is that true? Me practically soaked in tears. No I don't know what happened I was swing. I get cut if by M again. M. I saw him kick my daughter while she was walking in front of him. Luckily many kids that saw the incident said that she walked behind me and I hit her. So basically it was SC fault to walk behind me and get hit not mine. Me still soaked in tears and crying out like a burst dam. Please. I didn't do anything. I was scared that she was going to beat the living shit out of me. Now at this moment PD decided to see what all the commotion outside was. Now as soon as M saw PD, she ran to off faster than you can say my name. M still screaming. That boy points to me hit NU daughter and I want him kicked out. PD knew me very well that I wouldn't do stuff like that so PD instantly knew something was up. PD, did you hit SC on purpose? Me, no she walked behind me and I didn't see her and I hit her I think. Now at this point M knew she couldn't do any so she decided to take her kid and leave. And I thought that was it. Oh boy was I wrong. She decided to make it like a living hell for me. She spread rumors around the other staff. It was my last week there so do you think I gave a fuck about it? No, not really. Well that's going to be it for my M encounter. Thanks for reading. Thank you. Next. This happened about a month ago. I was having lunch in the cafeteria with some co-workers. One of the mommies in our office came over to our table with a phone in her hand and a grin on her face. She said she had the most adorable pic of her 1-year-old. I groaned inwardly as soon as I heard this. She went around the table shoving the phone in everyone's faces. From their forced smiles I could tell it wasn't great. She then brought the phone to me and I saw what looked like her kid with his face covered in what looked like some kind of food. I'm not sure what it was. It was orangish. It was fucking disgusting. I turned my head away immediately. She asked why won't you look? I decided to be straight with her and told her it was unsightly and not something I wanted to see as I ate. Of course, Karen got super offended. She asked how I could say that. Her kid was an angel. Why couldn't I just look at the picture like everyone else? I told I don't want to and I don't have to. The other co-workers told her to calm down and to leave me alone. Karen stomped off. Why do some people think that their kids would be appealing to everyone? Especially when it's in such a messy state. Thank you. Next. I'm on mobile and I'm dyslexic it's hard for me to pick out all my mistakes. If you see any just let Mr. know and I will fix them. Cast. Me. Duh. EM. Typical entitled cow. UN. And lucky neighbor. The owner of EM's house and the father of EM's baby daddy. G. Grandfather. An 83-year farmer who takes no tea. Cops 1, 2, and 3. Backstory. For most of my life I was raised by my grandfather. Nothing was wrong with my family life or anything. Just a few sets of circumstances that's a whole other story in itself. We live in a suburban area surrounded by woods and he owns about 10 acres into the woods with the boundaries clearly marked by stone walls. One of these stone walls separated G's land from a cul-de-sac and up until now we have had zero problems with any of them. In fact, G was usually more than happy to give permission to neighbors who politely asked him to use his land, given they had a good reason. One of these neighbors had G if he could to dump the sticks and leaves in his yard over the stone wall. G agreed as he rarely uses that part of the property anyway. This will be important later. My grandfather is very healthy for his age and still strong as an ox. That being said, he has a few minor health issues including vertigo spells, so I've been trying to help him around the yard more and more, as well as just to stay active outside away from crowds with this virus going around. Recently I've started the project of cleaning up the underbrush around the wooded area. A large pine had fallen a few months before and almost hit one of the porches in the cul-de-sac. G cut up the tree and removed the pieces in the neighbor's yard, but it was too deep in the woods to pull them out with the tractor. This led to me going back to that pine tree and trying to clear a path back to the house from there. I was behind the stone wall, cutting and pulling up saplings when I hear the glass door of the cul-de-sac house open and an angry lady storming out onto the porch in a bathrobe. She was much younger than a typical Karen, I would say mid-20s. What are you doing here? You can't be here. Me, why not? Because you're trespassing, dumbass. You think you can just hang out in the woods behind my house with my kids inside? Get the fuck out of here before I call the cops. At this point I'm just looking at her trying to figure out what to say. I mean, I get it. It can be a little weird seeing someone in the woods behind your house if you haven't seen them before. Me, Mom, I'm sorry if I scared you, but my family owns this part of the woods. I'm just cleaning up back here. Remember me and G were back here a few months back to take care of that tree that fell down? I just need to clear a path so we can get it out of here. At this point I thought it was purely a misunderstanding. Don't be ridiculous. Those were laborers my BF's dad hired. You don't own the land. My BF's dad owns all this. Gestures with her hands. Now I'll tell you one more time to get out before I call the cops. Now I'm thinking I might be dealing with a genuine idiot, as outside G's boundaries the woods are owned by the town water plant and don't have public access. But I'm also taken aback that she referred to us as laborers. Me, guess you're going to have to call the cops then, because I ain't moving. I don't care what your BF, or your BF's dad says. I shrug as I lean back against the wall and pull out my phone to call G to tell him where I was. He tells me he'll be there in a few minutes and to hang tight. She then dramatically proceeds to call 911 and tells them there's a shady individual on her property refusing to leave and she's afraid for her life. I start getting nervous at this point, even though all I have on me is a hooked branch cutter. So I call up the police non-emergency number, briefly explain the situation as just a land dispute that got out of hand and that I am unarmed and waiting on my own property, and that I have never left my own property. He assured me that it would be settled when the officers arrive, which didn't help my nerves. Just then I hear G pull up and see him walking through the yard towards us. What? Stay back, you can't come in my yard. G growls, keep your mouth shut, you dumb broad. He growled as he walked over to me and climbed over the wall so he was on my side. G, now who the hell do you think you are and why are you yelling at my granddaughter? My BF's dad owns all this and both of you are going to get arrested for trespassing. G let out a dramatic indignant laugh. G, oh, did he tell you that? Well, you're in for quite the shock, and your BF's dad is in for quite the talk. After them yelling back and forth for a few minutes, 2 cop cars pull up and 3 officers come walking into the yard. As soon as they do, she starts screaming again about how we have no right to be in the woods behind her house where we can see her kids inside. Cop 1 looks to G, sir, do you own the property behind this wall? G, yes, so I do. Pulls out his wallet to show his address. Cop 1, eyeing his license, sir, this address is 4 down the street. Me, correct, but if you look on Google Maps it shows the property boundaries of that address reach out through the woods and end at this wall. I hand him my phone, which already has Google Maps open showing our exact location within the boundary of the property. Cop 2, yup, she's right. So what were you all doing back here if you don't mind me asking? We explained the situation of the tree and how we were working to remove the remnants. Meanwhile the other officer was taking a statement from EM. Gee, I know the owner of this house. He is a good guy. I give him permission to dump his leaves and stuff behind the wall. But I've never seen her before, so I don't know where she got those crazy ideas. But I'm definitely going to have a talk with neighbor's first name when he gets home. Cop 1. She already called him up and he's on his way now. Do you mind sticking around for a little until he gets here? Gee, sure, we got nothing to do. The cops walked us to G's truck where we waited about 10 minutes for UN to pull in. When he did, he immediately walked over to the truck. UN, G, OP, what's going on? Someone was hiding out in the woods. Are you okay? Did you see him? To clarify, we have had an issue in the past with people running from cops and hiding in our woods. It took a second for us to realize he thought that maybe EM saw one and we came to chase him out. Me, not exactly. At this point 2 cops are around us again, but being 2 old guys who obviously pose zero threat, they're noticeably relaxed and kind of let them talk it out. UN explains that EM is his granddaughter's mother and his son had made some mistakes and currently both were staying with him while they tried to find a place of their own. He thinks maybe his son told some lies to make him look better. Gee, well, I hate to say it but your son made some big mistakes. She's crazy. UN, oh, you have no idea. The other cop is still talking to EM who won't stop screaming about not wanting us being able to see into the living room, especially G, a creepy old man. My blood is boiling at this point. G is the type of person who would gladly throw his life away to save a child, any child, even a stranger's. UN heard this too and ordered EM inside at once. He told the cops he needed to have a talk with both her and his son about their living situation, but they might want to remain nearby in case she tries to call again for whatever reason. Me and G are given the clear to go but leave our contact information. Found out later that week that EM was getting evicted for a number of reasons, with this little incident being the last straw. He's also filing for custody of his granddaughter because EM refuses to get a job yet still has money for weed yet keeps asking UN for money to take care of his granddaughter. I really feel bad for her in this situation, but I have no sympathy for EM whatsoever. Entitlement at its best. Thank you. Next. So I'm just going to get straight into the point. I used to trip on DXM every weekend or so for about 7 months. Well, it ended up my mom found it and she's a Christian, so of course this looks terrible on me. Anyways, I had a cool Slipknot wallpaper on my computer and she started telling me they're demonic and a bunch of Christian bullshit. So I haven't been able to get on my computer or talk to any of my friends for the past 3 weeks. I just went with it because I get it. But then I came in one day and all my horror memorabilia I have been collecting for 6+ years is all gone. I asked my mom and she was like, I don't want that stuff in my house, your data. Whatever, I thought. Well, today my mom calls me and wants the password to my computer. I literally don't know what the fuck she's thinking because this is just going to make the situation 100 times worse. So what do you guys think? Should I just give my mom my password to the computer or should I just not tell her? Thank you. Next. This kid sat next to me today, the sort of kid who has 2 IQ, talks about massive fish over the weekend, or mad trick I pulled off on my bike. Also entitled. Anyways, came over and sat next to me. Starts copying my work. I tried to ignore him but he kept asking me stuff. What a number is T his? Told him to get his answers elsewhere, but he kept at it. Then I started to write and the wrong answers, not only to fail him but to test his IQ. Can confirm. 2 IQ. Later moved seats. Had to at back in class to finish his work. Thank you. Next. So here's the cast: me, Majestic Eagle, Truvy, my big ass sheepadoodle, M entitled Mom, Ek entitled Kid. Also warning in advance, I'm on mobile and this includes bad language, so put on your big boy or girl underwear. P.S. I am originally a girl but I identify as a boy, so I was walking Truvy like normal. It's a 2 mile walk, so she's always tired after half of it, so I bring water in a bottle for both us. This is important later. So all of a sudden about halfway through, a wild M and Ek appear. At first I think nothing about it. They are walking their dog, a pit bull, and the little M asks me can I pet the dog, and I say yes because she doesn't bite a lot unless she's playing. But she's only 8 months, so don't think she's a bad dog. So he pets her and he said she's so cute, and I said I know, but you should have seen me walking her during the winter since it was so cold. She wore pajamas and I get my water bottle out to give her some water, so I step on the leash and slip off my backpack, and while I'm in the middle of doing this my dog is laying down, and I guess the kid is used to jumping on the dog at home cause he fucking jumps on my dog, and so I yell, "Yo, what the fuck?" and shove him off, but my dog bit him and he screamed. So the mom comes over and yells at me about, she said, "Oh my fucking god, why would you do this to my son? I will sue you." So I say, "Why, your son jumped on my dog while she was laying down, what did you expect?" So I'm pissed off already. I'm 14 and she knows my mom, and she goes, "I'm calling your mother for using that language." So I said, "Go ahead bitch, she won't care." So she calls my mom, she was at work, so she dials another number, her older son who was 12, to come to her, and I'm wondering why. He came and the mom said to whoop my ass, and he goes, "Mom, he's a foot taller than me. I'm 6 featuring." She said, "I don't care, he's a pussy, he won't fight back." I guess she didn't know I could bench 200 and I know how to fight, so he comes over and punches me in the stomach. It hurt but not that bad, so I punch him in the throat and then his mouth and his nose. He falls down and my dog latches onto him trying to protect me, I guess. I pull my dog off of him and I pull her off and pop her on the nose, so the mom calls the police and says she's taking my dog to be put down and me to go to juice for assault on her son. So the cops arrive and now they tell her to go away, and my dog was fucking taste because the mom tried to grab her from me, so she bit him. So shit hit the fan really quick. Needless to say, my day was horrible and we're pressing charges. I will update on the court day. Thank you. Next. I just got home and it seems like the only people that come to the grocery store have lost their damn minds since the corona outbreak. I just went home from my boyfriend and decided to stop by the grocery store nearby getting some Monster and some stuff for my mom, as the grocery store next to our house has been completely raided by panic buyers. So I texted my mom and got the grocery list and went shopping. I went and get everything apart from toilet paper until I went to the aisle that sold applesauce. Call me a little kid, but that shit's good on fries. I grabbed a jar and went in for the second one when I saw a little kid looking up at me sad, probably because it was one of the last jars. So I gave him the jar and grabbed the last one from the shelf when I feel it being roughly yanked from my hand. I turned around and said the usual WTF when I get cut off by the most Karen looking bitch of a woman. Watch your language, fat pig. I have a 5-year-old here. Me. Well, sorry, I can only see as far as my nose cause there's a whale swimming in a drop jar. Haven't you learned respect your elders? I want you to apologize for your behavior now. Me. Yeah, you're right. I knelt down so I was at eye level with her kid. Me. I'm sorry, your mom has a brain the size of an apple. Before she could screech again, I walked to her worker, told them about the fallen jar and went to the energy aisle. Little did I know the woman followed me. I grabbed a Can4 on the bike and went to the checkout. Once I reached and put my stuff on there, the woman came standing behind me and yanked the bar that separates people groceries out of my hands, and she dumped her crazy round of canned food and groceries on there. The cashier, who happened to be one of me and my boyfriend's mutual friends, looked up at me and I told him with a look, "It's okay." I made him scan my stuff, and when he came to the woman's groceries I stopped him and told him I wanted to pay those separately. The woman looked quite pleased with my reaction until I started to throw loads and loads of useless stuff on the band with the woman's stuff. When it was all scanned, I turned back to the woman and, while mimicking her tone, said, "After being so rude to me, it's only fair you pay for your own stuff." Moo, and walked away, leaving her with her mouth agape and my friend trying not to burst out laughing. No exiting ending like having police involved, but my revenge tasted as sweet the applesauce itself.